Um, I am really pleased to welcome our first of the talks, Tess Gardephe, who is an education and social impact leader based in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Currently, Tess serves as Director of People Operations at Enriched Schools, which is a startup where she launched and leads the Philadelphia region. Since launching the regional office in 2018, Tess has played a critical role in partnership growth, expanding the organization's partners to school leaders across 200 schools in 14 cities from 5 when she started. Prior to Enriched, Tess worked with the nonprofit Nifty, the Network for Teaching Entrepreneurship, where she trained teachers in entrepreneurship curricula, provided alumni with business opportunities, and grew the program across the region. And then before Nifty, Tess taught middle school English in New Orleans, which you're about to hear a little more about. And Tess is most excited and inspired when she is helping others, making connections, and involved with big picture strategy. Welcome, Tess. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Julia. So I will get right into my talk, and forgive me if I'm also reading from my paper a little bit. It's called How to Water a Human. When I was 8 years old, I forced my younger triplet siblings, who were then little 2-year-old babies, to play school with me. I taught them all sorts of life lessons that I had gleaned as their much older sister by 6 years. I had so much to share. We still laugh at the ridiculous fake glasses I put on for these teaching moments and the fact that I pretended to know several different languages. They were none the wiser. I'm someone who has always looked for lessons in my day to day life. And although I do enjoy giving people advice and sharing my lessons learned, I've realized that it's the journey of getting to know a person and how I might help them that fires me up. My pretend days as a teacher were eventually, years later, realized. I became a middle school teacher in New Orleans and had 200 of my own students. Reflecting on the pretend and the real school time, the days with my siblings and the days with my students, I recall how much I enjoyed building relationships and developing strong bonds with each individual. This passion is tied to my values of community, empathy, and love. And while the desire to connect with people might not be very exceptional, I believe I have my own secret sauce: the ability to ensure that my connections never die. My sister Sophie recently visited me to help me set up my new apartment. When we were discussing how to spend our weekend together, one idea I had was to go plant shopping. I knew she would be a great person for this because she has a wealth of knowledge when it comes to all things green. She knows the name of every plant and exactly how much sun and water each plant needs. Gazing at my plants the next day, I started to laugh. Sophie and I began a deep conversation about plants and their needs and how we can compare them to humans. Because of my interest in maintaining human relationships, I was able to draw quite a bit of comparisons after learning more about plant care from Soph. Little did I know, a little life lesson popped up once again. I've spoken with many people who feel anxious about reconnecting with an old friend, awkward about approaching a stranger at a networking event, or hesitant to reach out to a colleague when they've had a disagreement with them. I'm going to share 3 easy and actionable ways to deepen connection and ensure you keep lasting relationships. Many of these guidelines stem back to my conversation about plants. First, each plant has a story and therefore has unique needs. It's understandable to think that maybe someone who is a CEO or a New Yorker or an only child, and you have them all figured out. That's the same thing for a succulent, a jade plant, or an orchid. As you might guess, it's not that simple. Orchids look very delicate and do require special care. However, they're also very resilient and often will bloom again after many months of dormancy. A person's past experiences will affect their behavior, and their personality can be much deeper than meets the eye. One of my best friends, I've learned, is a quiet person, but not a shy person. I previously thought that these two traits go hand in hand, but now I see that's not always true. I know she enjoys being thrown the mic in a group setting, but she doesn't feel comfortable taking it without being introduced first. When you file this type of information away, I believe it can be valuable as it will show someone you care. This type of individualized attention tends to have positive ripple effects. However, you need to remember these nuances. Writing them down, adding them to your Google Calendar, or just relying on your old noggin, it will help with the maintenance and the longevity of all of your relationships. Each human story is unique and will affect their needs. Number two, there's a right time to move a plant. When I had a plant that wasn't doing well in my last home, my sister said to reconsider repotting it until the spring. She said that overall plants do much better at that time with the change in their environment. Maybe I'm the only one who didn't know that, but I found it fascinating. I had the opportunity to mentor a fantastic high school student, Kay, a few years back. Kay and I had a deep bond of trust and respect, and she knew how much of a rock star I thought she was. I paired her with another mentor, and I was excited to see their relationship grow because this new mentor had a lot more business acumen than I did. Kay, however, reacted very negatively to this new mentor. I believe she might have thought that I was trying to pass her off, or it might have just felt forced. The shift was too sudden, and the foundation had not been built. I come back to this experience because I think it's powerful to recognize how to support someone through a change, whether it's big or small. Picking up on a person's preferences can help create an environment that will feel safer and more comfortable for them. It's also incredibly important to get their direct input as well. What can I do to support you right now? I'm here and I'm ready to be of service. The third is overwatering can do much more harm than good. This last one is simple. Don't overdo it. Building relationships involves recognizing a person's idiosyncrasies, but also knowing how to follow a practical cadence. It's easy to get carried away. I'm sure this is the most common failure for new plant parents, watering too much or too often. I know it's tough for people in their approach to relationships too. We can all think of folks who have come on too strong, or maybe we can recount a time where we actually crossed a boundary that had been set. Paying too much attention to a person can backfire, especially if you just met. Purposeful, intentional connection is best. This might mean offering support or love during times of triumph or defeat, along with tailored check ins. It's important to recognize that people need their space and often they need time. For many humans, slower is better. To sum things up, building and maintaining lasting human connection isn't rocket science, but these three insights from our plant friends will help ensure you're successful. Number one, each plant has a story and therefore has unique needs. Number two, there's a right time to move a plant. Three, overwatering can do more harm than good. Follow these simple steps and you'll change your life for the better by creating relationships that last and bloom. I'm Tess Gardephe, and I love talking about all things relationship building, from organizational partnerships to networking. You can reach out to me for a conversation about how to improve your human relationships by emailing me at tess.gardephe@gmail.com. Thank you.